Well, hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. Welcome to It's Time for More Injury Funding podcast for all who want to learn about personal injury, legal funding, and everything related to personal injury. I'm your host, Laura, founder and CEO of More Injury Funding, the legal funding counselors with passion for law, medicine, legal funding, and heart for all suffering individuals. More Injury Funding is a sponsor, associate, or business partner of this podcast, Academy of Truck Accident Attorneys, Sandy Springs Bar Association, Georgia Association of Paralegals, Atlanta Legal Aid Society, State Bar of Georgia, and Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. In today's episode, we have a very special guest, personal injury attorney Samuel Johnson, based in City of Alpharetta, Georgia. He's best known as the insurance fighter.
Right.
Samuel has a strong reputation for being one of the most effective law firms in Metro Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Johnson believes that no family deserves to go through the pains of injury without any resolution. Samuel Johnson and associates represent their clients with their finest legal minds in the state. Samuel, welcome to Time for More Injury Funding podcast.
Well, thank you, and hello to you and everyone watching this podcast.
Absolutely. So you have very unique background in the way that you also are or were recently in law enforcement. How many years did you serve as a policeman?
I started back in 2001, I think. 2001, 2002. It's been a while now. And I finally retired last year, November, so it would be 2022. So
that's amazing.
Almost 21 years.
Okay. Do they want you to come back? Do they ever call you pretty much every day?
They do. They call me pretty much every day, asking me to go back and go back into law enforcement. But with everything I'm doing these days, I'm so busy. I haven't had the opportunity to go back anymore. So
I can only imagine. Now, how did your background in law enforcement influence your decision to become a personal injury attorney?
You know, it's funny because originally I was I started as a patrol officer. I was on the road working in Cobb County, Georgia, and started doing accidents. I started investigating accidents, a lot of DUI cases, and it just got me interested. It got me interested to learn more and more about it, and eventually I decided to go to law school and become a lawyer.
That's wonderful. And how many years ago was that you went to the law school?
Ooh, I graduated in 2010, so it's been about now 13 years.
That's a long time.
But I started law school in 2007.
Okay, wonderful. Now, Samuel, can you share with us how your experience as a policeman has helped you and your clients actually in your current role as a personal injury attorney?
Yes. So being a police officer, I've obviously seen and investigated a lot of accidents. I've seen and investigated a lot of cases. I've been a supervisor as a law enforcement officer. I've had the opportunity to do a lot of police investigations, whether it was internal or external investigations. So looking at a accident report and looking at basically pictures of a couple of vehicles, I can determine whether the police officer may have made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
The police officer placed someone at fault that they shouldn't have been at fault. Mm-hmm. And funny, that happens all the time. We just settled a case yesterday or the day before yesterday and my client was placed at fault. Mm-hmm. When I looked at the original police report, I determined my client was not at fault. My client got a ticket and was at fault. Mm-hmm. We ended up settling the case for $240,000.
That's amazing.
So
congratulations.
Going from being at fault to not at fault and selling it that high of an amount, just for my law enforcement background, being able to look at accident pictures and accident report and determining my client isn't at fault.
That's absolutely amazing. And I know that you also have experience, background, and some family members in the medical field.
Yes. So I come from I have a lot of family members who are in medical field. My father was a MD radiologist. Mm. And I have chiropractors in my family. I have other medical field in my family. So tell you what, don't say this out loud, but Thanksgiving is very boring at my house listening to all these medicine. But I've learned a thing or two over the years.
That's fantastic. Now, how does your understanding of the medical field through your family members who are medical doctors and chiropractors, and you being in the personal injury space, how does that, symbiosis help you out when handling personal injury cases day to day?
It's amazing because people come to me and they have been injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or any other trauma cases, and being around doctors, being around medical field, being around chiropractors, it has given me an opportunity to learn a lot about medicine, learn a lot about chiropractic, how obviously I cannot practice medicine. I'm not a licensed doctor. But looking at it, when someone says something, it makes sense to me. So when I'm going to court, when I have a doctor that works for the insurance company and is this trying to discredit my doctor, one of the doctors that we're working with, or discredit my client, I've learned over the years what to ask, how to ask it, and how to get where we need to be in order to discredit that insurance doctor, showing them, what you're saying is only for financial reason and not really has no really basis in the courtroom on medicine. So I've learned a lot about how to overcome those doctors working for the insurance company.
That's just amazing. And it's never too late to go to medical school, by the way.
I've actually thought about going to medical school several years ago. It was the worst 30 seconds of my life. So
Well, why is that?
my brain doesn't work that way. Having to do so much science, my brain doesn't do that. So it's easy for me to learn what an MRI is, what I'm looking at, when I'm looking at a disc, when I'm looking at a nerve problems, when I'm looking at things like that. It's easy for me to understand, visualize it, but having to learn bacteria or having to learn other things, I don't think I could do
Too much. Okay, well, good to know. Now, could you address some common misconceptions about personal injury law? Because there are quite a few.
Yes. I will concentrate on the normal question I get. Why do I need a lawyer? Why do I need a lawyer? Here's the reason. And generally, most people think that if I don't have a lawyer, I don't have to pay the fees of a lawyer. So I'm gonna take home more money on my pain and sufferings. And here's what I tell my clients. Listen, if you go to a MRI facility, if you go to a chiropractor, if you go to a medical doctor, if you need funding, such as what you do, most of the facilities, most of the companies who provide funding, who provide medical services and things like that, are not willing to work with you without a lawyer, because they're not guaranteed that they're going to get paid back for the resources and the money they're putting in to help you further your healthcare. So although you're thinking, hey, I do have to pay this attorney. Yes, you do. However, you're not getting the proper medical treatment. And if you're not getting the proper medical treatment, you're not able to prove your case to the insurance company in order for you to get the value that your case truly has. And if you can't get the value that your case truly have, the value it's going to be valued lower. So what you take home is less than what you would get with an attorney involved in your case.
That totally makes sense. Now, would you please share with us a case where your background in law enforcement significantly impacted the outcome?
I already told you one a couple of days ago, the case we settled, but I have a very good case that I worked with in court. And that has always stood out in my mind. What happened was we had a case where the insurance company, I used to work for the insurance companies also, so I used to be an insurance defense attorney. I have done the other side, so I understand what the insurance companies do. The insurance company was blaming my client for the accident, telling them the accident was the way the accident happened, it wasn't true, it didn't happen, or whatnot. Remember, I told you I'm an accident reconstructionist. I've done accident reconstruction. So looking at the pattern of the damage on the vehicle, I was able to tell that the movement of the two cars going against each other and where the lines of the damage started and where the lines of the damage ended, I was able to tell how the accident happened and what happened. I got lucky. I'm telling you, I got lucky. I had a police officer on my jury, and the opposing side did not strike the police officer, the biggest mistake of their life. I got them to understand, looking at pictures, what happened in the accident and how the accident how the accident happened and how it caused the damage that it caused on the accident. Having that police officer on my jury, he understood it, went back into the jury room, and he actually explained to them that he is right. The accident did happen like this. Here's why it happened. So he helped me a lot, being on the jury. But look at the other side. The attorney on the other side wasn't able to explain that, not because he didn't have a legal experience, it's just because he had no law enforcement experience. He had not actually investigated accidents. And over the years, he's never looked at how the damage happens and what you're looking at. Looking at a 2D photo is much different than looking at a 3D vehicle or a car and being able to analyze the damage. That experience, now looking at a 2D photo, I'm able to determine, okay, this is what I'm looking at, and that's how the accident happened. And that helps a lot throughout the years. That's just one example I can give you.
Very interesting. And have you used in the past, or do you use in your cases pictures, videos, models?
We do. We use all the above. So we use pictures, we use models, we use sometimes we even do graphical demonstrations that we come up with. Yes. So to show how it happens. Now, some of those are not evidence in court. When we're doing those, when we're doing models, it's not evidence in court. However, I can use that as a visual aid to tell the jury, hey, this is what's going on, this is what happened, and give them that visual, although it's not evidence and they can't take it back in the jury room with them, but the image stays in their mind, that when they're discussing it in the jury room, it would help them a lot to make the correct decision.
Totally makes sense. And you kind of touched on this, but how do you approach cases that involve law enforcement officers as either the plaintiff or the defendant?
That's kind of interesting because again, I used to be a supervisor and I used to be a lieutenant colonel with Fulton County Sheriff's Office.
Oh my goodness, I'm sitting here with a very important person, VIP, okay?
So I've investigated police misconduct. I've investigated in things that police officers have done. So there are times that I get in cases and questions that, hey, can we sue the police department? Hey, can we sue the government? Can we sue this other person? Or how can we sue these people? Over the years, I've learned about immunities, how to do police investigations, what the police policies and procedures say. I've learned those, I know those. So when someone comes to me and I look at the case and I look at that and look at something, I'm like, this is a violation of their policies. Not because I gotta go look at the policy and take time to read them, it's because I already know what those policies are, what those procedures are, what the police officer had to do or couldn't do. When the police officer doesn't write something in the report, when I'm looking at it, it's like, hey, this police officer made a mistake on this report because they didn't write this, and this. What else did they make a mistake on?
Okay.
You see, if they were lazy writing a couple of forms here, filling out a form, they were lazy. What else were they lazy on?
So you definitely have upper hand there.
Yes. Oh, versus the other way around. Hey, this police officer did this, and this correctly. They're stickler for rules. This officer did their job perfectly, so I can rely on it. But based on reading a report, I'm able to tell that because I've looked at thousands and thousands and thousands of reports over the years.
So if any attorneys listening to me right now have a question about police report or not sure, call Samuel Johnson and Associates. Okay,
I'm always happy to help. So yeah, they can always call me. I will look at it and give them my honest opinions.
Samuel, does your knowledge of medical terminology and procedures help you in understanding and arguing personal injury cases to a great degree?
It does. It does. And let me give you an example. When the insurance company hires a expert, and it's funny because they always hire the same people. So when you learn who these people are and how they testify or what their deposition looks like, it becomes a routine thing for us. But when let's say the insurance company hires a radiologist, yeah, I can go out and hire my own radiologist, and get them the report of this radiologist and see what they say and how to get over it. That costs a lot of money for my clients, right? I can do that, yes. However, me knowing what I need to know, or me knowing what I'm looking at as far as the medical terminology, medical field goes, it's much cheaper, much less costly for me to depose that radiologist, ask them what I need to ask them, just to discredit them and move on. So it's much at the end of the day, the amount of money we get from the insurance companies, we would have to cover all the costs.
Mhm.
So the less cost there is in the case, the better it is for my clients. So knowing what I'm looking at, knowing what the radiologist, the orthopedist, the pain management doctor, all these experts of the insurance companies say, and being able to discredit them helps a lot, and helps me, helps the case, and helps at the end of it, ultimately helps the client. So
Absolutely, that's the goal. Can you discuss the importance of medical evidence in personal injury cases and how you work with medical professionals in these situations?
it's the medical records and medical bills are very, very important, and it's something that we rely on heavily in personal injury cases. Making sure that those medical records and medical bills are accurate. There's no mistakes or inaccuracy in them. It helps a lot. If there is an inaccuracy in them and we send that to the insurance company, that inaccuracy would they hold it against us, and they devalue a case, because now they know that inaccuracy can come to court, and they can try to discredit my doctors or my clients' doctors by saying, hey, you made a mistake. Even a spelling error, spelling error, you're like, hey, it's a spelling error, who cares? But it makes the doctor look so uneducated that has a impact on people's case. So what we do at Samuel Johnson Associates, we read every medical records, we read every medical bill to make sure they're all accurate. There's no misspellings, grammars, and punctuations. Everything is correct before we forward those to the insurance company.
Very interesting. I didn't know that part.
Yes.
How do you balance your understanding of law enforcement perspective with the needs of your clients in personal injury cases?
That's sometimes hard. Sometimes a client comes to me and they say, hey, I want to sue the police because they did this. I want to sue the police because the police wrote the police report incorrectly. You see what I mean? So it is difficult to sit here with the client and say, listen, you can't do that. You cannot sue the police just because they wrote the wrong police report. It didn't cause your injuries. The person was just writing a report. Or, yeah, the police did this and it significantly impacts your case. You need to file a lawsuit against the police department. So it's sometimes difficult, but getting the client to agree or understand that, hey, what their mentality is about policing is different than what it is in real world, and how it works in the courtroom. So sometimes we do have a difficult time, but we try to help our clients understand, however difficult it may be for them to understand and agree to it. So
I see. Is there any advice, Samuel, you would give to someone who has been injured and is considering a legal action?
Yes. So there are a couple of things I would give them. Number one, hire a lawyer. Number two, do not post anything on social media. Social media can be your worst nightmare because the insurance companies can get a hold of it.
Mm-hmm.
Third, be careful what you say, who you say it to, because anyone you talk to can potentially be a witness in your case. When you may be at a social gathering with your friends and describing what happened in this accident, or bragging about, hey, I went to this accident, I got into an accident, and I was hurt, but now I'm not I don't feel the pain. Well, that
Mm.
person now can become a big witness in your case. One more advice I would give people. Just because you don't feel pain does not mean you're not injured.
Mhm.
Pain is just one symptom of an injury, but just because you don't feel pain doesn't mean anything. So don't rely on pain to determine to make a decision whether I'm injured or not. Pain is not is could be a determinant is a factor, but it's not the only thing that we'll look at. Sometimes the person has zero pain, has never had pain, but they have this herniation, this bulging or nerve problems, and they never feel pain.
Totally makes sense. How has your family involvement in the medical field shaped your approach to the type of law that you practice nowadays?
You know what? I went to law school wanting to be a prosecutor. I was interested to become a prosecutor. I worked for the government as a prosecutor. And my family members who were doctors and practicing medicine and practicing doing personal injury pushed me towards personal injury while I was in law school. So I started learning about personal injury and learning how personal injury works. And when I came out, day one out of law school, I started practicing personal injury work, personal injury law. So my family and their experiences helped a lot. And you know, if I didn't have that, I would probably be doing a different field than personal injury.
What would you be doing now?
Either prosecution or criminal defense, but now I'm not interested in either one of those because I'm so interested and intrigued by personal injury.
This is amazing. I love this field. Absolutely. I'm not going anywhere either. Can you share any challenges or advantages you experienced in your career due to your unique background? Again, you know, having the knowledge of the law, of course, and I mean the police work and also your medical background.
Yes, ma'am. So again, I've had cases where people came to me and they want to file a lawsuit against law enforcement, or they want to file a lawsuit against the government. Again, the challenge was having to tell the person, hey, you can't do that. Let me give you an example that sticks out in my mind. I had a client several years ago now that they had lost a family member in as a result of a drug overdose.
Mm-hmm.
However, unfortunately, they didn't know that their loved one had passed away as a result of drug overdose. They thought that it was because he was having a medical emergency, and the police and the fire department and firefighters and EMS personnel did not attend to their loved ones. When I looked at the video, when I watched the video, I determined this is a drug overdose. Although the information had not come out by the reports hadn't come out yet, the toxicology report hadn't come out yet, or any information hadn't come out yet. Looking at the video, I was able to determine that this was a drug overdose, and the law enforcement couldn't do anything. This was unfortunate accident, unfortunate incident for their loved ones. Again, it was my law enforcement background that gave me that opportunity to watch the video and say, I know exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Having to sit there and explain that to the family, saying, hey, your loved ones, unfortunately, this was an unfortunate incident, and you lost your family member or loved ones because of a drug overdose was difficult, and it was challenging, and they didn't want to understand it. They want to keep saying, no, the law enforcement didn't do their job right. They didn't want to do their job right. So it was difficult, but at least me as an attorney with my background, with my experience, I was able to explain that to them. Now, whether they accept it or not, that's a different story, but I was able to explain it to them to say, you know what, this is what you're looking.
That's wonderful. Yeah, talking about medical field, what role does chiropractic evidence play in personal injury cases, and how do you utilize that?
Okay. Unlike most other attorneys, this is where I differ from most other attorneys. Unlike most other attorneys, I love, I can't say love enough, love chiropractors in number one, in personal injury cases, number two, in helping my clients. I think chiropractic is big in personal injury. I think there should not be a single case that the client has not gone to a chiropractor that didn't start with a chiropractor. It's the least invasive procedure, it's the least invasive treatment a client can get. It helps a lot. So I love chiropractors in every case. If it was my choice, I wouldn't touch a case that doesn't have a chiropractic attached to it. So
That's wonderful. Do you ever personally get adjusted?
I do. I have family members who are chiropractors, so I do get adjusted quite often.
You'll have to give me their telephone number. I do get adjusted too. Absolutely helps. How do you ensure that you stay up to date with the latest medical and legal developments that could impact your practice?
I take a lot of seminars. I look at all the new information that comes out, all the new research. Obviously, if you look around my office, you'll see medical devices, medical tools. You'll see teaching materials, and I use the information. Number one, to learn myself. Number two, to teach others. Number three, as I look at cases, when new information comes out, the doctors put it in their records. It's the best way for you to learn. So I read the records, I read their evidence, and if I don't know something or I don't understand it, I go research and then figure out what this doctor is saying, how does it impact it, and I love Google. Google helps a lot. So
what about the AI, artificial intelligence?
AI helps a lot also. We started recently using AI to help us with certain questions, certain difficult questions that we have when it comes to medicine or medical field. It helps a lot. It's absolutely one of the best tools that we found so far.
I love it. Can you share a success story where your unique background played a key role and maybe made a difference in someone's life?
That's literally every case I touch.
Oh,
that's
so
literally every case I touch. Every case I touch is very personal to me. The reason is I put myself in the shoes of my clients. This person was involved in a car accident. Now they don't have money they can't go to work. They don't have money to pay their bills. They don't have money to pay their car insurance, car note, houses. They don't have money to feed their family. So it becomes very, very personal to me. So I have several goals in mind when it comes to that. Number one, getting them the treatment they need, getting them healthy and back in their work, getting them the settlement that they need. But more importantly, getting them funding that they need in order to help them survive during the time that the personal injury case is going on. Sometimes personal injury cases take a year, 2 years. So during that time, they're going to need some sort of funds to be able to survive and be able to live. So I put myself in their shoes and I try to help them at every avenue, whether I can get them legal funding, whether I can get them the treatment they need, whether I can get them the funds to get the surgery they need, the funds to get them the pain management they need, and then getting them settlements and then pay off everything, and they're not financially on the hook for all these funds, and then being able to pay them to cope with the pain and sufferings that they have to go through, and be able to at least try to put them back in the position they would have been in had the accident not happened.
That's such a wonderful thing. So, such a wonderful thing you do for your clients, because you do consider them as your own family.
Yes, I do.
And you have a very big team. How many team members do you have now?
I think we're up to 30 right now, but
30?
we're projecting about 10 or 15 more by this time next year.
That's amazing. So proud of you.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, can't wait to see you grow and give it more.
Thank you.
Now, if somebody, and I should have asked this, but do you handle motor vehicle accidents, trucking accidents? What other types of law do you handle?
So we do trucking accident, we do motorcycle accidents, we do car accidents. I do have to tell you, I do ride motorcycles as a sheriff's deputy. I did ride police motorcycles, and I've gone through police motorcycle classes, so I understand a lot about motorcycles also. We do trucking accident, we do slip and falls, we do out of personal injury, we do other law in our office, but personal injury there is not much that we don't do. We do take a lot of risky cases, we do take a lot of risky slip and fall cases that most attorneys won't take. If another attorney has turned away your case, we will take it. We will look at it, we will take it. just because the other attorney may have turned away your case because the police officer made a mistake. Now the attorney is turning away your case. We will take your case.
Wonderful. Now, if somebody, God forbid, gets injured in a car, motorcycle, trekking accident, or on some premises, walk into a friend's house and slipping on a brick at their apartment complex, how can they get in touch with you, Samuel Johnson and Associates? Do you have a website, social media?
We do. The website is www.mrlawman.com. That's www.mrlawman.com. You can also go on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and look for Samuel Johnson and Associates. You will call us at 404-666-LAWS. That's 404-666-LAWS. And we try to be on every social platform. Sometimes you can find us on billboards on the side of the road. So, MrLawman.com.
Wonderful, wonderful. That is so great, Samuel. Thank you so much again for being such a wonderful special guest at my It's Time for More Injury Funding podcast. But before I let you go, I have one very special pop-up question for you. A fun question.
Awesome.
Ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear? You know what? I hate to admit it, but I'm going to admit it. I'm a sore loser. I'm a sore loser. I do not lose. I do not like losing. So yeah. So my biggest fear is losing a case. It keeps me up at night. This is why I work hard not to lose a case. I'm a very sore loser.
I love it. That again was attorney Samuel Johnson with Samuel Johnson and Associates. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for watching and listening to our story about this wonderful attorney and his field and his background in medical field and in law enforcement. For more tips and tricks on legal funding and personal injury related topics, follow me on social media and also my website at moreinjuryfunding.com. You can find me on social media such as LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those platforms. And until then, be well. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.